Hello, everybody. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Thank you for joining me as we take a look at the nation's weather. We have everything from a winter storm that is taking grips on the northern plains in Montana now, sliding through, well, much of North Dakota, right through Minnesota into the Twin Cities, northern parts of Wisconsin. Winter storm warnings for you as well. A lot of wind with this storm system actually closing an interstate in Montana due to those gusty winds causing problems. Showers and even a few thunderstorms, a couple severe and strong down in parts of Georgia. Your forecast and a look at this weather begins right now. Let's take a look at the latest on the radar, and to do that, let's head right over to this national view. Now, we have a lot of wind reports in the mountains of western Montana. Let's take you there first, as an Alberta clipper is clipping right out of Alberta, and it's heading its way into the northern plains. As it does so, the wind is really intensifying over the Rocky Mountains. Dillon, Montana, 58-mile-per-hour gust reported there. Near Bozeman, we have a 58-mile-per-hour gust reported there. West of the Billings area, near Livingston on I-90, is where the closure of the interstate has happened due to those high winds. Gusts upwards of 60 miles per hour. How about 67 miles per hour here? 9 miles north of Limestone. Up in Kalispell, we have gusts that are approaching significant amounts as well, but it looks like we've got a snow report coming in with 3 inches already in that particular area. We have a mixed bag of tricks making its way through Glasgow in the northern part, and it's just now starting to spread into northwest parts of North Dakota, and that's what we have going on here. As we take a look out on the East Coast, right now in New York State and northern Pennsylvania, we have bands of snow that transitions to flat out rain as we get into the eastern reaches of Pennsylvania out towards New York. Now, and north of New York City, we have heavier showers of rain near Albany. This extends all the way down through the Appalachians into western parts of West Virginia, western parts of North Carolina, right into northern parts of Georgia. And at this particular time, we have strong thunderstorms. There was a warned storm out here as well, but we have 3 thunderstorms right now that have the National Weather Service with some statements on those storms, and it does look like we have 1 active severe thunderstorm warning right here. This is a thunderstorm warning. It is basically for those areas in and around this zone here near Zellaby, Brooklyn, and Renfro, with 3/4-inch diameter hail being the main threat there as we look into parts of Georgia, heading towards Macon, Buena Vista, right in the path of this. Now, out to the south and west, we have 3 storms that are stout, probably producing a chance for some significant hail and gusty winds as well as those storms move off to the east. Some thunder and lightning not far from Charleston at this hour, and that is a look across the nation. Now, let's take a look at what's going on with the forecast, but first, let's browse once again at these warnings that we have going on across the nation. For the winter weather event taking place in the northern plains, as we zoom on down, we do have high wind warnings out there. In Montana, not expecting huge amounts of snow here. There's a winter weather advisory that extends from northeast Montana through the Dakotas, North Dakota, into parts of northern South Dakota. That winter weather advisory is for snow, some areas of light freezing, mixed precipitation, and wind gusts upwards of 45 miles per hour or greater in some spots. As that storm system works its way through, it's going to bring wintry travel conditions right across the I-94 corridor and extend down as far south as the I-90 corridor once it heads toward the Twin Cities. Now, as you look at the red areas here, all the way from Minot, North Dakota, included in a winter storm warning now. This is out for Crosby, North Dakota, all the way toward the Pembina border crossing, I-29 at the Canadian border, right to the South Dakota border. So Grand Forks, Devils Lake, North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota, Alexandria and Fergus Falls, Minnesota, right into Minneapolis, St. Paul through St. Cloud, and Duluth and parts of the North Shore, all in this winter storm warning. We're expecting upwards of 6 to 8 inches of snow for many, but in the narrow, heavy band that does develop, wherever it does develop, there could be upwards of 1 foot of snow from this system as it works its way through. Here's a look at my forecast for that particular area, and we'll put this up on the monitor for you so you can see. And again, we're expecting very windy conditions to persist with this system. Here you go. Here's the narrow, heavy band moving out of the oil patch of Montana and northwestern North Dakota. The pink colors here have a great chance of 4 to 6 inches of snow. That's likely. 4 to 6 inches of snow likely in the pink band here. Some in the pink band will get that heavier opportunity, if you want to call it that, for heavy snow, 6 to 8 inches plus. Now, this model pegging the Devil's Lake Basin as getting upwards of a foot of snow. Will it be right there? We will just have to wait and see where that heavy band sets up. But it will be on the boundary between some very cold air and Arctic air up to the north and some milder air down to the south. In the warmer pocket of air, the snow will be wetter and a little bit, well, more dense, so it won't accumulate as much. We're still expecting 1 inch or 2 inches, though, south of Jamestown, North Dakota, and into northeast South Dakota as well. Sneak over to the Twin Cities, and this is no picnic for your picnic basket either. How about Minneapolis, St. Paul? We're in that zone of a likelihood of 4 to 6 inches across Brainerd, Fergus Falls, Alexandria, St. Cloud, but a couple of you are going to see 6 to 8 inches plus of snow. Now, the greatest risk for the heavier bands of snow will be in the northern metro area. So as you're driving around the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul, if you're talking 694 and 94 through the central corridor of the city, that's where the greatest chance will be, and points north towards communities like Blaine and on up towards Duluth as well. Heavier pockets will persist with this particular storm. This storm will come with isobars aplenty, meaning the winds are going to be screamers out there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the national forecast. We'll look at the European model for this. Now, as we look at the forecast for this particular system, one thing to keep in mind is that it will bring a lot of wind and bands of locally heavy snow. Things are starting now in Montana. When will they be and where will they be? Let's check it out. Okay, as we set things into motion, you're going to notice first and foremost the system moving into North Dakota. There's the center of low pressure. Heavier bands of snow near the low pressure center at the surface. There's another low pressure center down here that's going to cause some enhancement of snow as well in the Twin Cities by Thursday morning. So as we go into Thursday morning, we're expecting snow showers to spread from most of North Dakota and into Minnesota, where our winds will be southeasterly for much of the day. On the back side of this system, the left side of the L, that's when this clipper is going to start really punching and bringing the blow along with the snow. And when that happens, the gusts will exceed 40 miles per hour across the Dakotas. This is the Highway 2 corridor, the Interstate 94 corridor. Notice we still have a south flow of milder air on the front side of this system, but not warm enough for rain showers aplenty. If there is icing, I expect the best chance of that along the along the South Dakota border with North Dakota. This system's still bringing the flakes and the breezes and wind and blowing snow and tricky travel conditions right through Thursday evening before heading into parts of Wisconsin, western Michigan. We'll see the impacts of this system before it really fizzles out just a little bit. Notice this mid-Atlantic system that will be working its way off. It joins, and that one then intensifies as it's out of here. But it could bring some impacts to Nova Scotia and places near Maine, while another little clipper-style system will wiggle through. It's a weather wiggle, if you will, the Dakotas as we go from Friday night into your Sunday. Pacific Northwest with some unsettled weather as we head through the week of Christmas. Here's a look at Christmas Eve. We could have reindeer-worthy snow for landing on roofs as we go through Christmas Eve, but makes its way into the northeastern United States. But other than that, largely quiet weather, a little bit of a system working its way through the Rocky Mountains as we go through your Christmas day. Not the case by Christmas night, the night of Christmas, not Christmas Eve. Major storm system could be making its way off the Ocean into the Pacific Northwest. All right, so we looked at snowfall totals. We looked at the weather that's making its way across the nation. The main focus will be in the next 24 hours, the snow taking place in the upper Midwest and the northern states. If you want to see more on this or track snow, you can head on over to hutchesweather.com with links to snowfall reports nationally, with links to road reports in the northern plains and parts of the prairies of southern Canada as well. hutchesweather.com. Thanks for joining me. Stay tuned to me here on Hutch's Weather. If you liked what you saw, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.